Some of the other things that people ask me about with this bench isn't it too shallow? It's only about 20 inches deep, and actually the older I get, the less I want a deep bench. Because I find deep benches, I can't reach the wall where my tools are, or I find with narrow projects that I want to clamp to the bench, I'm limited because it's too deep. Plus it just takes up less footprint. I prefer longer benches. That way I can stick long molding with it in one slack. So I'd rather have a longer, skinnier bench. And then the height. A lot of people ask about the height. It looks a little low compared to some of the other benches here in the room. And that is because this bench is designed for hand plane. It's not that I designed it for my daughter. It actually would be a lot lower. But I designed it for my daughter as an adult. I have a little platform for her standing up now. I anticipate her being 6 feet tall. But the proper bench height, if you are a hand planer, is to hold your arm down, and then this joint between your pinky and your hand is where the height is appropriate for hand planing. Because any higher than that, and you're going to start using your arms, it's going to wear you out. So when I am hand planing, I put my shoulders over the tool, and then I don't move my arms. And as you can see, I won't take my clothes off. But I have little girl arms, as my wife likes to say. I'm not a big kind of muscular guy, but I can plane all day because I do have very big leg muscles, and so I can walk it and not move my arms, and I can get I can use my shoulders to hold the plane and to cut. And so it's a beautiful thing for hand planing. It will absolutely change the way you work. I love this bench, and my daughter loves it too. She does her homework on it. She loves it so much. So I think that for me, that's all I need is a win-win. But I work on it too, and have been very happy with it in its way. So I'm happy to take any questions, or if anybody wants to hurl insults, also available for that. Yes, sir. The so-called rising dovetail. Roubo never discusses a rising dovetail. The rising dovetail is a joint that locks that Roy Underhill showed on his show about his Roubo bench that he built several years ago. And a rising dovetail starts at the bottom and then it comes up and locks up here, so it slides up. But you only use one dovetail. You can't have a rising dovetail and a tenon in a bench. You can do it in a mallet, but that's another story. That is not a 18th century joint. It's a sort of a modern trickery. Very cool, but not in Roubo. This is the way all the benches in all 5 volumes of Roubo are built for cabinet makers and for joiners. So that's the joint. Do we have another?
Yeah, on one of your earlier benches, you had the twin screws. And why do you like? What didn't you like about that one?
Why do I not have a twin screw vise on my bench? The reason to have a twin screw is because you dovetail carcasses. That is the best reason for a twin screw, because you can have 24 inches between your screws, and so you can get the carcass in there and dovetail it without having to do some sort of crazy trickery with it. You know, clamping it here and then putting the clamp across it. Most people, even professional woodworkers, dovetailing a carcass is going to be a once-a-month affair, and so, and for a home person, even less than that. So the solution is when I built this bench, and I love my twin screw on my Holzapfel style bench, but my solution for this was to steal an English trick, which was the Moxon double screw vise. I don't know if any of you saw that, but it was a vise that appeared in Moxon. It's actually a French vise, but I call it the Moxon double screw vise. It actually appeared in a book called Principes d'Architecture by Falabian. But it's basically a twin screw vise that's clamped to the top of your bench, so that you put it down with some holdfasts and it holds your work up here, about 6 or 8 inches up, and then you can dovetail without bending over. And in the 18th century, these vices were very common. They're in Roubo, they're in Falabian, they're in Moxon. They were just all drawn wrong. And it wasn't until recently that the light bulb kind of went on, and I realized those are drawn wrong. And they're used on top of the bench and clamped to the top of the bench. You don't have to bend over. You can dovetail your carcasses, and then you can take the vise off and hang it on the wall for when you really need it. And then this is useful for this is useful for everything but that. So it's a way of making a simpler bench, and that's why I don't have a twin screw. I have a twin screw on my Holzapfel. I love it. I have no problems with it. Both work. I mean, I'm not going to say that this is the only setup for anybody. If you want a twin screw, have a twin screw. If you do a lot of dovetailing carcasses, have a twin screw. Anything else?
To get this mechanism, is that modern available?
There's no modern available. Sheltons are fairly common. I bought them. You can find them on eBay about once a month. This is $90. Now the other option is what I've done on other benches is just to use a very simple, record quickly here. It works just as well. But this one, it just looks much more vintage. It goes into the flavor of the bench. So that's why I chose that one. And also the crushing the child's head. You guys are quite a bunch, but Lori did a good job. I'm sorry. Yes.
As a follow-up to the twin screw, what about a sliding deadman or a sliding vise?
Another thing that Roubo shows is that he has one leg vise here, and then he has a sliding deadman here that is also a leg vise. And so you have a leg vise that slides and a leg vise that's fixed. And what that allows you to do is to dovetail anything. You can use that as a twin screw. I have never seen one of those benches in the wild. I've never seen one anywhere else except for in Roubo's book. I'd love to see one in the wild, and now they're being built modern, and people are using them and say they love them. But there's never been one that I've seen in the wild. The French menuisiers hated that so much that Roubo was even afraid to call it his own idea. It's so much so that he said, well, this is a German bench, because the French and the Germans have their problems, but it really was his bench, but he was trying to push it off on the Germans. The Germans never had anything like that. It's a pure French bench. But one of my next benches, I guess I'm going to build another, is going to have one of those. I think it's a very cool idea. No? Yes.
Do you miss having holdfast holes on the other side?
I haven't put holdfast holes in. Yes, I missed them terribly. So yeah, there need to be holdfast holes. There needs to be one here, one here, one here, and one here. And then I'll be self-actualized. I'll have found my power animal. My aura will go back to orange. So I do miss that.
Any developments with the St. Peter's Cross? You mentioned last year that there was someone working on that.
Mm-hmm. The St. Peter's Cross is a type of leg vise that does not require a parallel guide. It has an X-shaped piece of iron, and so you don't need to put a pen in. As soon as resistance is encountered up here, these provide resistance at the X's and provide resistance at the bottom, stopping this from moving in. And yes, there is someone still working on that. They borrowed mine, and they haven't given it back.
Still.
Yeah. And I'm going to give them a call now. Thank you for reminding me. Great. Well, thank you so much. This bench is on the cover of my red workbench book, and if you're interested in looking at this or any of the other fine books I have, I'm in the booth over there by the guy with the cool Australian girl. But thank you very much for coming.
Do a little jig like
No, I once got caught doing that, and it ended up on the internet. I'll take my clothes off, though. Do you think that's okay? You can touch it. If anybody wants to touch it, I'm fine with that. If anybody wants to clean the crap off of it that we got, this is from a blue tarp that was covering it. We haven't been able to get that off.